Bill Putman, how are you tonight? I'm assuming by the smile you could hear me. When you want us to talk or whatever, because this is so foreign to me, will you wink at me or something? I think you.
Yes, we were telling you when it's public comment.
Okay, so you'll just say, "Hey, Bill, open your mouth" or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Joe. God bless.
Okay.
Go away now. Thank you.
Don, are you having a bad hair day?
Who, me?
Yeah, you're in the dark.
Yeah, I don't know why. It must be because I have an antique laptop, because trust me, it's so bright in here, I need sunglasses.
Okay.
And actually, I don't have hair anymore. I shaved it all off.
Oh, couldn't get it cut, so you shaved it off, huh?
Yep.
It's because your light's in the background and not ahead of you.
Yeah, it looks like you're sitting in a cave.
I know. I don't know why it's so dark. Trust me. I mean, look, I have 8 lights on, plus windows all over the place. But that's good. That way you can't see me good.
Is Brian here?
Haven't seen him yet.
Okay.
He won't listen to the person who used to work in television and had to do lights, so
I can't hear Trisha very well. Sounds like you're a mile away.
Sorry, it's because I had to use headphones. My husband is cooking dinner while I'm in the meeting.
What are you having? Maybe I'm coming over.
We are having beef broccoli and crab, like the crab rangoon.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
All she knows it's going to be good because she ain't cooking.
Exactly, Alvin. Exactly. It's true. I am not the cook in this family.
We'll make extra because we're all coming over afterwards.
Well, it doesn't help that all of you live within a 2-block neighborhood, so.
Were you all set, Sarah?
Sarah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Now we can hear you, Sarah.
Okay, let's call this meeting to order with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, moving on to the agenda approval. Any additions to the agenda? No additions. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll support.
Got motion and support. Should we do a roll call, Sarah, or just?
Roll call. Aschenbacher,
Yeah.
Hall,
Yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
Yes.
Rick Walt,
I don't think he's with us. Oh, there he's at.
oh, let me unmute him. Rick Walt. White. Yeah. Zavitz,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes. Motion carried. Next on the agenda is public comment and visitors. We have with us tonight Putnam Development, Bill Putnam, Billy Putnam,
Dr.
and
Blake
Joe.
Putman.
Okay, you have the floor.
Hello. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. Hey, this is kind of exciting. Hey, welcome to my office, and I welcome myself to your home. That's just like, this is like too cool for me. It's like science fiction. I'm wasting my 3 minutes. We had, for the last about a year and a half, been working with the state and a couple hospitals, and In the bigger cities, they have these things called medical malls, and what they are is they focus their attention on geriatric and ambulatory and A1 healthcare. Here we have an opportunity to bring it into the thumb. We've been designated as what's called a Renaissance territory. And so we're going to be building an urgent care medical mall in the thumb. Actually, they've approved Cass City, Vassar, or Caro, one of the three. I had an awesome meeting today with Joe, and yesterday with Brian, and I think it was the day before with your new city manager, who I think is going to be fantastic, by the way. Is he in the crowd somewhere?
Yes, he is.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to put a name with a face. So long story short, we have a packet that's about 4 inches thick that you guys will be getting once we know that you might be able to help us with some of the criteria that we're going to need in order to build this in Caro. It's going to take approximately 14 months to build. It's going to be about 40,000 square feet, which is bigger than the Caro Hospital. Again, this isn't a hospital. It's a medical mall. It's the basis and the premise is that you can go get A1 healthcare without having to travel to Mayo or to Cleveland. These are the best of the best in the doctors in the area. What happens is it'll have a pharmacy, a X-ray, physical therapy, just everything. Everything you can imagine. So that even valet parking. So, if somebody's ambulatory or geriatric, they pull up, they'll be able to park their car for them and then retrieve it after their meeting or their service has been had. We had this idea, and then we flew with a couple politicians to Florida and visited one of these places, and it's absolutely unbelievable. The care, they assign somebody to the patient if they're that bad or they don't have family that can help them. Now, it's not just open to geriatric or ambulatory, it's also open to the everyday person. But again, this is to make it so that they can get around inside the medical field without having to drive from Cass City to Bay City to get an X-ray and then back to their primary care doctor and then go to the pharmacy and then do this and then do that. Everything is going to be under one roof. There's 7 of these targeted for Michigan in the next 5 years. And God willing, Caro is where we really want this, and I shouldn't even be saying this. A couple exciting things that I want to mention is recently we know that we had a problem with the Caro Center. A lot of really good people got laid off or had to be redisposed in other areas. This is going to bring, now this is the low end of the scale, 122 jobs, averaging $44,000 a job to whatever town, obviously, this is going to be built in, or this is awarded to. And we did some research, and it's going to almost double what we lost from the Caro Center. And I think Caro deserves that. We had like a great workforce, and we lost those people as opportunity to make a good living. And it just dropped out of the sky that we have an opportunity to do this. talking to Joe today and Matt and Brian, it brought smiles to their faces when we told them how many jobs and what caliber of jobs. I'm a Caro person. I owe Caro my livelihood. I grew up here, went to school here, played football here. It's my home, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we get this. The property that they targeted to build this is just outside of Caro. And what I mean by Caro City. And we talked to Joe and he had some great ideas, but just some options that we're going to throw out there. Our attorney is going to get in touch with you guys and give you anything and everything that your attorney is going to ask for. But one of the things is we're right on the line. If you took one step off the property, we're in the city of Caro. If we could annex our property into Caro, I think that would be a blessing. If not, we're so close that all the homes and all the people that would work there would primarily come out of the Caro area. I know I'm sounding, what's the word when you're biased? Biased? Yeah. I'm sounding biased towards Caro, but purple and gold run in my veins. And I'm a Caro person. And Blake, about a year ago, started a practice in Caro. And obviously, I'm a proud daddy. He got best of the best. But he's going to spearhead the primary care portion of the project. And I don't know if you guys are acquainted with Dr. Jensen. He's Dr. Steve Jensen. He owns Tri-Valley. I think they have Tri-City Urology. They have like 16 locations. He's also going to have an office in this building. And they are, both of them, along with a gentleman that's from the Thumb. His name is Ty Henderson. Are all way vested in this project. So I know almost everybody on the board, and I love you guys. We've been friends forever, and I'm excited about doing this. And the reason is because, like I said in the beginning, this is my home, and I've always loved this place. I chose to build my home here and raise my family. We have an opportunity in front of us, a community that you guys have been committed to, and together with the commitment that I seen from just the three guys I've met with just recently, this is going to be an outstanding opportunity. And I'm excited about getting reacquainted with old friends. So Blake wanted to say something, but I already took his 3 minutes. That was a joke.
Yeah, but it's also true. So I just want to echo what my dad had said is, one of the things that he was really excited about growing up was building me an office. It's turned into something other than just an office. So it's also exciting for me as a doc in Caro. What this is basically going to do from a patient standpoint is centralize everything in one area. So that way an individual can come in, see their doctor, get their labs, the x-ray, physical therapy, whatever it orders in one building. So as Dad said, obviously with our aging baby boomers, transportation is a big deal. Just, the somebody to come to your family doctor, then to pick you up to go to physical therapy, then to pick you up to go to the labs, all these different things. If we could get it in one spot, that's what the goal is. And so that's just a little bit of an overview. So I think there's some other individuals that, did you want to talk
Yeah. One last thing, and then I'm going to go leave you guys to do your business. I'm not sure if you know him or not, but Doug Henney was he I think he's in this program that you have, the Zoom or whatever this is, but he is the president of the board, and you'll get to meet him, God willing, in the future. An incredible gentleman, was on the board, General Motors board, and he's going to be spearheading the project along with a foundation that is being started for businesses and even individuals to donate to this project. I don't know if you know her or not. God bless her. I think I shouldn't say this, but she's 92 years old, but she's a fireball, and her name is Dolly Mish, and she's from Cass City. But long story short, I love her, and you guys will get to meet her. And honestly, I hope she's not listening because she'll get mad at me, but she's unbelievable. She's running the foundation. So she's the president of the foundation, and Doug is the president of the board that's pioneering this project. There's 2 other ones that'll be built in the next 24 to 27 months, God willing, in the Thumb area, but one has to be in one of these 3 cities. So Joe, thank you, man, for getting me in the last minute. You guys are awesome, and we're doing somersaults thinking about working with you guys. So I'll leave everything to you, Joe. And oh, hey, is Joe from? I'm going to turn this over. Joe Green is our president, obviously. Joe Latosis is our architect. Now, Joe Latosis is one of the owners of Design House, and I'm going to turn this over to him, and he wants to talk a little bit about this building and how incredible it'll be. One of the coolest buildings you ever seen. Joe Green will have a packet, and I pray that he'll share that with you in the next week. But here's Joe Latosis.
Okay, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. My name is Joe Latosis. I'm with Design House Architecture in Rochester, Michigan. We've been working with the Putmans for over 10 years, done numerous projects together, quite a few commercial projects. We also did their house, which was an undertaking unto itself. I just want to take a couple minutes to talk about this project and how excited we are to be a part of the team that's going to hopefully bring this to Caro. Like Bill said, we're looking at a 40,000 square foot, 2-story building, state of the art, brand new. These type of projects, are going in all over the place. They provide a service that hospitals don't. That in one centralized location, you have kind of all the little things you need. You can go get your prescription filled after you leave the doctor without having to drive across town. It's one stop. If you have to go get physical therapy or x-rays or labs or testing, whatever you need, you can do it all at one location. Just making a better service for the end user. So we're super excited about that. We think this is a great spot for it. Caro's a centrally located place where it makes sense to be located, in this spot. We've looked at some other locations, but we're pushing hard to get this one. And as we develop this and bring it in front of the planning commission through site plan approval, and then come in through permits, we're hoping to work with Caro to figure out the tax implications and any tap issues with water and sewer and things like that. So I'm going to try something here. I'm gonna have a computer look at a computer, see how this works. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is the little design package that we've put together to kind of show what the scope of the project is. So there's an existing building on site that we're gonna take down, and then we're gonna build this new 2-story L-shaped building. We've designed it so it parks per your zoning specifications. We fit within the height and the setbacks and the coverage. So we've kind of done a little bit of homework so far to make sure this works. So you'd come into this grand lobby and there'd be a bunch of different medical suites. You know, they'll be cut up depending on the end users and who's in there. But it'll be a cool building to say the least. So these are just some of the images we've created. So project will have valet parking. So you just come, get out of your car, walk right in. And a beautiful little deck off the back. So we're very excited to bring this project. We're hoping that everything works out and we can get this thing underway in the next couple months. If anybody has any questions, I am more than happy to answer them. And thank you very much for having me.
Okay, thank you, Joe. And we look forward to working with you, and let's see if we can get something done. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Communications. Are there any communications?
Any other public comments?
Any other public comment?
I'm not seeing any hands raised.
Anyone?
Okay, moving on to any communications. None were in the pack. Let's move on to the consent agenda. Regular council minutes of April 20th, pages 2 through 4. Finance Committee of the whole minutes, April 27th, page 5. Invoices, page 6. Are there any questions on any of them?
One question on the invoices, Joe. Detroit Pump and Manufacturing for $67,000. What did we do?
That was the upgrade they had done to a lift station.
Is that the number 7 lift station is what it was?
Yes, it was
Okay.
approved by council.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't think we approved that much money for it, but if that's what had it, well, that's what it cost, that's what it cost. But I was just wondering what that was for. Other than that, that's all I have right now.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
Well, the Finance Committee
Yes.
minutes. We, number 1, listed a whole bunch of items, which are all excellent, and the other has no description, but I'm just wondering if we can consider the recent last couple of months and evaluate our spending for some of the city's own goals in our finances, you know, based on our needs versus our wants, because I'd hate to spend what's in our budget this year and then have to go after taxpayer money next year and the year after that to offset what we might spend this year, just because it's in the budget. And we've got a finance meeting coming up, so I think we can make that our goal.
Okay. Any other comments? Entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Make the motion to accept the consent agenda.
Support.
We got motion and support. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Sarah?
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
Yes.
Rickwalt,
Yes.
White,
Yeah.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Moving on to the regular agenda. Number 1, lawn care services, RFP, pages 7 through 8. Matt?
Yeah, as you know, every year the city bids out lawn care services for the city properties, parks, right-of-way areas, things like that. We received 2 bids, but one of them was disqualified because they didn't provide us with their insurance information as it was listed in the bid specs. So there's 1 qualified bidder that you see there.
I have something. I believe the one that was disqualified, if we look in their file, I believe their insurance was good from May 14th of last year to May 14th of this year. I talked to him. He didn't provide it because his insurance company isn't open because of this COVID-19. But he does, we do have his insurance policy, should have it, the file from last year because it went from May 14th to May 14th. Secondly, if I remember right, the last time we used Total Lawn Care, we had a lot of complaints. Do you guys remember that?
Sure
Not
do.
mowing the pump station, not mowing part of DPW. We had a lot of problems with them.
Yep.
I
And we
think
never
they were
had any
given-
problems with the Chris
They were
Eccleston.
given 2 weeks to make the correction, and they did make that correction. I think they had a staffing problem that was unaware. And I believe that was when they were working with Charlie. And it just was a matter of Charlie taking care of communicating with them.
I don't know. You remember that, Bob? All the problems we had?
I thought
Yeah,
it was an ongoing issue.
It was. And I'm looking at Chris Eccleston's bid was actually lower. And I don't think we should disqualify him for insurance purposes when we should have his insurance on file from last year, good till May 14th. The only reason he didn't submit it is because Farm Bureau, his agent keeps telling him he'll get it as soon as he gets to the office. Again, with this COVID going on, I think we should cut a little bit of slack on that. But that's my thought.
I think we should offer Chris the opportunity, since we do have a certificate on file and it is current, all we would have to do is call the number on the certificate and qualify it.
Right.
And with me running my business, when each year my insurance automatically sends an email or a fax to the vendors that I do work for. And maybe whoever he's insured with did not send that since it hasn't expired currently. And also, if for some reason, if he did become uninsured, that insurance company would have sent a notice to all people they provided on file prior.
Right.
That's my understanding of how it works. So I think I agree with you on this one, Don, that we should give him the opportunity to verify that it is legit and covered.
It was such a problem that year, like over and over and over again, we had problems with Total Lawn Care.
I know. Can't hear you very good, Tisha. I'm sorry.
I remember the whole scenario. We're skipping parts. I do believe that was, like you said, Brian, a personal thing there with his personnel, that they were just messing with him. But if Chris has got his insurance, I think we really need to give him can maybe Matt call him and say, hey, you got to have this here before the next meeting, one way or the other. I mean, we can look it up in the file, don't get me wrong, and see that he's got it, but he's got to have a piece of paper to us, to Matt anyway, or the office. I think we need to give him the chance to do it.
Okay, our options is to do something or table it until next meeting, till Matt can get us all the information, or what are your wishes?
I would recommend doing a motion to approve it to who you want, which is Eccleston, and then given that they provide their insurance, and if they don't, then it would fall to TLC.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support it.
Do we have the number of
Now I look like Bob.
I'm sorry?
Do we have the dollar that the other one bid, Eckerson, Chris?
$695, it looked like on the sheet, and then Total Lawn Care was $715. It wasn't not much difference in price.
But it's still the low bidder.
but it's still the low bidder.
Is that better? Can you guys hear me better?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, I look like Bob now, but
Hey.
Okay, is there any other comments or discussion? You want to read back the motion, Sarah?
Motion to award lawn care services and turf improvement contract to Chris Eccleston Landscaping, provided he submits his insurance, and to award to TLC if he does not.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Roll call vote?
Jones Hollaback,
yes.
Brickwalt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Hall,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Moving on to number 2, mowing of noxious weeds and grasses, pages 9 and 10. Did we just have the one bid?
Yeah, there was just the one bidder.
What are your wishes on that?
Since there's only one bidder, we could either rebid it if you don't like that company, or we can award that to them.
They are the ones that did it last year, I think.
Correct.
The blight, yeah, I think so.
Was there any trouble with them last year with the blight stuff, Sarah? Did they get it done in a timely fashion that you know of?
I don't remember Randy having too many complaints. I mean, he had some, but not as much as when they did the parks.
Did they pull out of the bidding one year because we didn't pick them for the other one?
Yeah,
Do you remember that, Bob?
I do remember that. That was a couple of years ago, right after we both came on.
What's that?
Total Lawn Care dropped out because we didn't award them both contracts. So they pulled both of their bids out. And that's how
last
Chris
year
actually got in. That was
Actually, I think it was it Total Lawn Care we're talking about, or the other company?
I think it was Total Lawn Care, Brad.
Total Lawn Care, I believe, did the blight, and Eccleston did the city properties
last year.
last year, yes.
Correct.
This was a couple of years ago, though. This was right after me and Tisha came on.
No, I came on with Don and
Right.
Megan
But
last year.
But I remember,
so
oh, maybe you weren't. I
was covering.
Right. Yeah. There was an issue that they dropped out because of, if they weren't going to do both contracts, they didn't want either contract. But I do believe that was Total Lawn Care. I don't know who else it would have been. You got any idea, Brian?
I remember one of the companies dropped out, but I don't know as if it was Total Lawn Care or the other company that dropped out. I know one of them dropped out because they wanted both and didn't get both.
Right.
And I don't know which company it was for sure.
Man, Total Lawn Care seems like that's who it was, but I can't, you know.
But last year, Total Lawn Care did it.
Right.
Okay.
And it's only on a cut. They're only going to cut grass as we call.
And an on-call basis, correct.
Right. You know, so if Randy calls, you're going to cut grass at a certain address, and they're going to get a certain amount of time to get that done.
They're the only company that bid this, correct?
Yes.
Right.
So the other company did have opportunity to try this type of work, and I guess they chose on their own not to go after it as an opportunity.
Right.
So I feel if Total Lawn Care wants to do it, then it's only fair to offer it to them.
Was that your motion?
I'll make that as a motion.
I'll support your motion, Brian.
Total Lawn Care gets the contract for $65 per 8,000 square feet and an additional $1,500 each additional 2,000 square feet as an on-call for
$15, not $1,500, Brian.
No, yeah, $15 each additional 2,000 square feet.
Yep, that's fine, Brian. Yeah. Yeah, I'll support your motion then.
What's our charge, Sarah?
Our charge is their charge plus $20.
Oh, okay.
Is that enough for us? That's what I was gonna ask.
Do they pay it?
Oh, that added,
We've heard complaints before where people think it's too low or that our charge is too low, so why not let Blight mow it? I've heard that
Well,
before.
That's
Yeah,
like
but I
that
think it
World
went up
Series.
this year. I don't think it was 65 last year, was
No,
it?
it used to be $50.
Yep, it was
When-
$55 last year, I think.
what I'm thinking, asking is that our fee, we send Randy out, Randy goes out, checks it, then does Randy send a letter? Or just, I'm
He-
talking about the amount of time we spend on, then Sarah and your crew sends a bill out.
Mhm.
Is $20 enough?
No.
for
I
our
don't think
fee?
so.
Should we up our fee a little bit? That's what I'm trying to say.
I
Our
I would say yes.
think we should make it a $50 bill. $50. If we gotta send the Randy out, Sarah out,
Good night.
then Randy's gotta go back and check it. I mean, we're paying people to do 3 or 4 jobs, you know, that we shouldn't have to be paying. I mean, if they're keeping it up, then we shouldn't have to be doing this. You know, so if they got an extra money, well, then it's a $50 bill.
Yeah, if the council wants us, we can do at the finance meeting, we can bring that up as well and talk about that then and see what we could come up with versus the, based on the numbers that we got in last year about people, all the blight numbers, we can do some analysis to see what it costs us
And-
versus what it should cost them.
We can find out how much time Randy spends developing backup evidence photos.
Yeah.
Then the amount of time Sarah sent, or you sending the bill out, then if not, it goes on the taxes, right?
Right.
See, this will end up on the taxes if they don't pay.
Right, but there's a lot of people involved in this to get a lousy $20. We
Yeah.
didn't pay Randy's wages for an hour, and he's got way more in cutting grass for an hour.
Okay. But like Matt says, we would bring that up at the finance committee, but the
Okay.
motion on the floor, you want to read it, Sarah?
Please.
Motion to award the noxious weeds grass mowing service contract to Total Lawn Care at $65 per every 8,000 square feet with an additional $15 per 2,000 square feet.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Rickwalt,
Yes,
White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah, sir.
Hall,
Yeah.
Jones Hollaback,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Next item, Tuscola County Community Foundation Grant, pages 11 through 12. Matt?
Yeah, and I actually do have a little bit of a change to my suggested option number 1. I didn't see it in the plans when I looked at it, but they actually do have a bus stop designed for that. But what they don't have is site fixtures around it. They don't have a bench or trash cans or anything. So if you think about it in those terms, for that particular option, we do have a structure designed, but we don't have any of those site features. So I think that would be just a short amendment to that option.
Matt, does all the money have to be used at that site, or can we split that money up between 2 sites? That seems like a lot of money for a bench and a couple trash cans.
Yeah, that's a good question. And honestly, I don't know. I'd have to inquire with the foundation. They asked us to provide them with a proposal. So if that's something that council wants to put in the proposal, then that would be something we'd have to ask the foundation about.
Matt, would this not only include, like you say, in trash cans and benches and seating? Could this actually include like light poles and things like that, flagpole out in front of it? I mean, we should decorate this up pretty decent. You know, with our light style that we're using, could we purchase lights and things like that with this too?
The lighting is
I guess
already
if it's-
included in the farmer's market, the lighting.
Yeah,
of
I
the
was gonna
site.
say a lot of the design elements and there's even landscaping involved with the farmer's market
Okay,
already. So
that was my next thing is, you know, we could fix it up a little bit to, you know, to make it look nice.
well, and if that's where you want to go with it, I mean, I think the tech center, there was an idea floated about them doing some kind
Matt,
Can't
we
hear-
lost you. There
We
you
can't hear you, Matt.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
Okay, sorry. The tech center, somebody had the idea of having the tech center build an art piece out there, and that's option 2. So I think if you're going more towards decoration, that would be an avenue to go down.
But my understanding was this money had to be used fairly soon.
Yeah, they expected us to spend it this year.
Yeah.
When we did I think it was the trailhead project with the DNR.
Let's see.
Couldn't we use that money at the dog park and then use the money from the dog park and transfer it over to Splash Pad?
See, the dog park right now is coming in, you know, between right in that dollar amount or maybe even a bit more. Like I got a bid from up in Bad Axe for a halfway fence company, and they bid for the dog park, 150 by 2 something in the entryway, 12,987, you know. So it depends on the size of the dog park. That's 5-foot high fence, and there's a couple other quotes out other places to get quotes in. So 9,000 would cover the bulk of the dog park.
Could we add the community foundation grant money to the dog park to add some benches inside and outside the fenced in area and maybe a fire hydrant or
Yes.
a little bridge or something?
That's what I mean. We could designate it, and we could, like Matt said in his write-up, he would work at look at the design that we got and add some
features to it.
features to it.
Yeah, I think that's something that we can do right away.
Yes.
And give people something fun to go to. Even this early summer, we could get it done. And it at Chippewa, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that would I guess get homeowners and pet owners to enjoy our park out there.
And it would show people we're moving forward on our overall master plan for the whole area. One of the items off of it.
I think that's a great idea to make our dog park nicer.
Or just.
I agree.
Want to make a motion to,
I'll make the motion to put the grant money towards the dog park.
I'll support it.
Option 3.
I think it's option 2, Sarah.
2.
No, I think it is option 3.
on
It's
page-
option 3.
3 is a splash pad.
on
No.
page 12, it's option 3.
Okay, whatever page you're using, my page says,
Yeah.
Page 11 says option 2.
yeah.
But there is no option 4. If you read the recommendation at the bottom of 11, there's no option 4 on page 11.
But on page 12, there is.
Yes, I see
Correct.
that now. There's two separate pages. But whatever page you want to use, Sarah, put it towards the dog park. Whatever one you want to use. You know what we're
Got
talking
it.
about.
We got motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Sarah?
White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Hall,
Yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
Yes.
Rickwalt,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Moving on to item 4, road professional services agreement, South Elmer Street construction, pages 13 through 17. Matt?
Yeah, South Elmer Street is getting ready to pretty much break ground whenever the stars align for that. The design engineering was included in the previous contract, but even in the previous contract, it was noted that the construction engineering was not yet part of that. So in order to keep it moving forward and to keep Rowe working on the project for construction engineering and inspections, we have to award them another contract for that service. And actually, Mike Carpenter is here to answer any questions you've got and address any concerns you've got.
Where are you, Mike?
I'm here. Wasn't sure I was going to make the meeting because I had another meeting. So Doug Skylas is actually on the meeting as well as Kay. Some of you may remember Doug. Some of the newer members might not know Doug as well. Doug and I have worked with Caro for many years. You've seen my face more lately than Doug's, however. But Doug is the licensed engineer that I work under. So,
Okay.
I have one question. When you say provide full-time construction observation, what's your definition of that? Is that just when the contractor's there or even when he's not there?
When the contractor is there working, with the exception that particularly when construction gets started, there's some things we got to do in advance of the contractor, like mark out removals and stuff like that.
Yes.
But no, if the contractor goes home on a rain day, we're not going to spend 15 hours there.
Okay.
Is that what you're alluding
Yes.
to? Yes.
Yeah.
No.
In comparison to North Elmer Street, the scope on this, is it about double the scope of what North Elmer was?
I'm not sure. North Elmer started out kind of one project. They weren't going to remove the concrete. They weren't going to touch the curbs, and there was only a little bit of water main. So I'm not sure how that job finished out. I think it was more in the maybe 800,000 range, whereas this one is 1.4, 1.2. Shoot, I forget. Got that here somewhere, but it's full reconstruction, all new curb and gutter, a lot of new storm sewer, and full water main for the full length of the road. And then also remember what we ended up doing down at the sugar beet factory, where we added the turn lane and added a run of storm sewer into the fairgrounds, and then the DPW has already taken that to the gully. So there's a fair amount more work on this stretch than I think was done on the North Elmer. This project would be a little more comparable to Frank Street. But again, I don't think Frank Street had a whole lot of storm sewer work.
So, Mike, what's your bottom line on this? What are we looking at?
Hang on, I just closed.
$165,700.
I was looking through my phone here and I can't find the total cost of what he thought he was looking at.
It's on the
The
bottom.
total cost was 1.2.
Yeah, requested action.
Page 13 on the bottom.
It's 160. Let's say 165.
1 plus 4 or plus 46.
So the 4,600 would be to do as-built drawings for the water main work and the one stretch of new storm sewer.
Yeah.
If that was desired for city records, and typically for the water main, you would want that so that you'd have it at your DPW.
And how much under budget did this project come in at? Like 300,000 under
300
budget?
plus, yeah.
Oh, that's excellent.
So Mike, what I'm seeing here, you're going to give us 800 hours for 2 full weeks.
Yep, so we're anticipating that the project will basically be 14 weeks. We're saying 13 full weeks with a couple of partial weeks at 55 hours a week. That would be for our observer to be out there, and then some miscellaneous time to get, to get the project rolling. And then there's also what we refer to as an office technician. That person is just that. They're in the office and they handle the paperwork from the contractor, from MDOT, and from our field observer. And it all has to be done in MDOT format. Every 2 weeks, the contractor gets paid. So there's payroll that has to be reviewed. There's all the inspector's notes that has to be reviewed. And then there's an audit at the end of the project that MDOT goes through. And then the construction engineering would be for basically either myself and or Doug Skyless' time on the project. Doug is considered the project engineer in MDOT's eyes. He's a licensed engineer that would be overseeing the project. And there's meetings and whatnot that we have to attend, and certain things we have to keep up with to keep on track.
If we get 2 weeks of solid rain and work has to stop for 1 week at a time, and then 3 weeks later, another week at a time, are we on the hook for the site?
No, there would be no reason for us to be on the job for a whole week if it was raining.
Okay.
With the exception of doing soil erosion control, which according to MDOT, we're required to do within 24 hours of a rain event. So we have to visit the site, make an observations, complete a report, and advise the contractor if they have to make corrective action. Other than that, Mike's right. If the contractor is not working, then generally there's no need for us to be out there.
That's a valid point. Thanks, Doug. And Brian, just so you know, I'm qualified to do those inspections. So that is something I could do before I left town. So.
Okay. I guess with that understanding, I think we approve I'll make a motion, we approve this requested action as written for the 165,700 and the main and storm sewer drawings for 4,600 as an as-built to the contract for South Elmer.
But I'll second your motion, Brian. But on that thought, if this is going to ever exceed this 165,000, we want 2 weeks notice. I don't want to get into, well, we got this extra here, we got that extra. I want a little notice of what we're going to pay for. I don't mind paying the money, but I want, if we're going to run over the 165,000, I want some kind of notice.
No, exactly. Yeah, 2 weeks isn't really enough notice. Can we handle it with like a as needed change order at the time? Directed to our city manager to make that call?
Well, basically, that's what I was going to say. If there's something out there that they find needs a change order, that change order should be written up, and then any additional engineering fees addressed right along with the change order.
Correct.
Time or whatever.
Yeah, and we can follow our regular purchasing policy for that. So if there's any changes over 5,000 or something, then I'll certainly come back to the council.
And we're all in the same boat, trying to protect the city from what had happened 2 years in the past. And that's what Bob and I are reaching to. And that was not row engineering at all.
So, and I admit it wasn't row, and we've never had any problems with row engineering. But I guess if you find something out there that needs to be addressed, please address it right then and there with the city manager. Don't just think that we're just going to do it. We need to be aware.
That,
Yeah, and one thing I would mention too is, and I had Mike put this in the agreement, is about additional costs like hotel rooms and mileage and all that stuff. It's in the agreement. They will not charge that to us. That's going to be on them to determine who they have working for us. So that's in that contract as well. And I know that was a concern that I heard from council the last time we spoke about it.
So I don't know if I was daydreaming or what. The 165,700 is basically having an inspector on the job, 55 hours a week for about 13 to 14 weeks, correct?
Yep.
Awful damn lot of money. We can't put that out for bids. That's a lot of money. That's $200 an hour.
That's in addition to that 167,000, that's the office staff, whether it be in Flint or Lapeer, to handle the MDOT specified payment request, all that type of stuff that MDOT requires for this funding of a project.
On page 15, it says, staking, laboratory testing, density testing, it gives you all the, it's just not the inspector, it's a lot of other people, construction
Doing work for
engineering,
us.
contract administration. It breaks it down to a whole group of people.
And this is not out of line with what I've seen on other projects either. It's in the ballpark for this type of project because of its funding source from MDOT. They require that detailed attention to detail.
All I'm saying is we don't want any problems. We just want the project to go along smoothly, get it done. And we've never had any problem with Mike or Ro. I mean, you start putting this out for bid and we're going to get another engineering company in here that's we don't work with, and we're going to get what, you get what you pay for, folks.
If we got a motion and you
I
talking,
just have-
Alvin, we can't hear you.
Alvin, you're muted.
There you go.
Matt, on these $5,000 increments that they can apply for, is this something that has to be approved by you before they do the addition and you can do just the 5,000, or is it something they can do and can they do it multiple times?
Anything.
So if they find contamination in one of the holes in one of the drains or something, then Young's has got to come out. I mean, can they divide this all up and make it a multiple hit, or is it something that's approved by you each time? You have the power to approve it.
Well, they're most likely not going to do anything outside of this contract without notifying me first, regardless of how big or small it is. If it's a major change, it will come back to council. If it's, we can stick to that spending policy. And if it's less than $5,000, I can approve it. If it's something I'm not comfortable approving on the spot or within a certain percentage, then it'll come back to council, no matter what,
Okay.
I have a question because I see Mr. Sheardy is on tonight. Mike, our favorite clause is still in this contract?
Nope. Yes, the amended clause is in the contract.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to point that out. I saw that it was amended, but
Yep.
I wanted to make that point so Mr. Sheardy knew that it was amended also.
And I think an example of anything that could potentially happen would be a good example of what happened at Lincoln Street and Elmer intersection with the excessive amount of concrete that was in that intersection. And that kind of held the last project there up, I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4 days to get a machine big enough in to remove the excess concrete. That'd be an example of a good example of a change order that might come about when something's excavated and found.
Then we just had that experience with Shaw contracting too, wait until the end instead of addressing a change order or that extra gravel when it happened,
Yeah. We didn't get billed for that until what, 2 months after?
Well, it never came up until right at the end of the contract. One, the communication wasn't right between all the parties.
I really don't think that we'll have much problems with Roe. Roe's always treated us pretty well. Sure, we're paying for it, but they've always treated us good, and they do the work that's expected of them.
Okay, we have a motion on the table and support.
I'll make a motion.
We have
the motion.
We have it already.
Roll call.
Are there any further discussion? If not, Sarah, roll call.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Hall,
Yes.
Jones Hollaback,
Yes.
Rickwalt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to number 5, MDOT Category B Grant Resolution, pages 18 through 31. Matt?
Yeah, I received a notification a couple weeks ago about the Category B grant, and I wanted to jump on it because I know that the city is trying to do their best to fix some streets and get some infrastructure taken care of at the same time. And you know, I talked to Mike Carpenter about it, and we kind of identified a handful of streets we thought might be a good chance this time. I know you guys applied last year and it didn't go through, so we kind of got a different mix of streets with some different issues that we wanted to try this year. And Mike was kind enough to help me get this together for you in time. It's due by June 1st, so if you have changes, different streets you want to look at, or whatever the case is, but this is what we think we can go forward with. And if you have any questions, let me know. It's basically just a resolution and the application that's ready to go. The application itself has a couple typos on it. We kind of copied and pasted from last year, and I sent it over to Sarah before we were able to change it. So we'll make sure that MDOT gets the right one. But the numbers that Mike put together are accurate for these 3 projects.
So you're talking Norman Street, Lincoln, and
Howard.
What was the other one?
Howard Street.
Howard Street.
Howard. Okay.
Norman, Howard, and Lincoln.
So, Matt, the last time we applied for this, it was like $1,200. Is that still a fee that we have to pay for to apply?
To MDOT or to Roe?
I would imagine it was MDOT. I thought that's what we paid for a fee for.
Bob, I think that was the scrap tire grant.
Was that what that was for, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. This is something totally different than that.
Yeah, if I may, John.
Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
So last year, when we didn't get the scrap tire grant, we took those same streets and threw them into this category B grant. And that was Lincoln, Gibbs, Burnside, and Guilford Road. You guys ended up doing Gibbs and Burnside on your own last year. So it was the emphasis more so this year, or maybe as much this year as last year, but the emphasis is for one, to the streets that we picked, if they had other funding sources available to them, that would be considered like that'd be a ding against the street. So Guilford Road actually is, can get funding much like South Elmer Street. So that was why we thought maybe taking Guilford Road out would make sense. And then you get bonus points, so to speak, if you are doing other work such as utility work. That's what's common with these streets now is that 2 blocks of Lincoln Street, all of Howard, and all of Norman Street need water main work. And it's water main work that the city is going to have to do in the next few years, regardless, because Eagle's going to force that issue here shortly because it's got the small galvanized mains on them. So that's why we picked these 3 streets. The 3 streets kind of fit the budget, and Matt, I think does that sum up kind of the discussions we had?
Yeah, that sums it up really well. And it's partially identified by the DPW as problem areas for water. Particularly Norman Street is a recent example of water main issues that they've had in the last month. So it's kind of timely issue to kind of put these on the block.
So what is the updated cost of what this costs to apply for?
There is no cost that I'm aware of, Brian, other than just a handful of hours that I've helped Matt so far.
Oh, okay.
That's a no-brainer then.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we, based on hearing that we apply for the MDOT Category B grant application.
I'm gonna second that, Brian.
Got motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Is there a roll call vote?
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Hall,
Yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
I had to swallow my crab rangoon. Sorry. Yes.
sounds good.
Sure.
Rick Walt,
In front of us.
White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Number 7, first reading on, number 6, first reading on amended medical marijuana ordinance and set public hearing, pages 32 and 33. As you can see on page 32, it's adding 1,000 feet of a state licensed daycare under number 5 was added.
1,000 feet's a long way. We got 500 for a church or any house of worship, but 1,000 for daycare. Shouldn't it all be 500 feet? I mean, 1,000 feet's a long ways.
No, it's 1,000 for school too.
Is it 1,000?
Yeah,
For
it's 1,000.
school, yes.
Okay. Is that the state requirement, 1,000 feet for a school? Okay,
Yes.
then that's fine.
Is it? Well, now let's think about this before we do this.
He might not be 1,000 feet away.
Okay,
Moving.
daycare, preschool, or whatever we're gonna call these things that they call them nowadays. I mean, is this gonna cover every last one of them that's out there? I mean, a daycare, a preschool, I mean, you can say it's a daycare and then somebody's gonna say, well, no, it's a preschool. We gotta cover every last issue there because somebody's gonna pull that out. I see it coming already. I don't know, is a daycare and a preschool the same thing or are they two separate things?
Licensing is different.
State license.
Well, okay, so it is two different things. And so if we just say daycare,
No,
it's
we're saying
it's
state
still-
license daycare.
Right, but what Bob's saying is, what if they say they're a state licensed preschool
yeah,
and not a state licensed daycare?
yeah, that's what I'm saying, Joe.
It should say state license preschool, not daycare.
I think it should say,
Oh,
Both.
say
daycare / preschool.
Yeah, there you go, Don. Yes, something that covers them all, so nobody's left out here, and that there is no second question of it.
One thing just came to mind is our application for our new facility 1,000 feet away from?
Probably not. 1,000 feet's a long ways.
I'm not sure. We'd have to look.
I think we should review that first, I feel.
I agree with Joe.
I agree too.
1,000 feet, really, when you think about it, you've got.
It's a long ways. What's a mile?
5,000.
5,000.
So it's
180.
8th mile. Well, less than that, more than that.
I think maybe, I would recommend tabling this till we review our new
See
application.
how far that business really could possibly be from it. Because I bet you we're not within the, I know it's within
We might be biting, by doing it right now, we might be biting our own foot.
Right.
Joe?
I'd like to make a motion to table it to the next meeting.
Somebody needs to measure it.
got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll support it.
Okay, we got a motion and support to table this. Roll call vote.
But is somebody gonna measure it before we?
Yeah, I think Matt could probably have Jeff go out and measure or however they want.
I
could-
suggest having someone from your police department do it because it's the same as a sex offender has to do for our school. And they use a different measuring system.
Well, that okay. Tish, you just muted yourself.
Hey, as long as somebody measures it before
Because
next
I'm
meeting,
doing
so.
it again.
Well, we've probably got some measurement tools for the DPW that
Right.
we could use.
A
Or
wheel.
I know the GIS system has an automatic measuring system for the parcels that we could test that against too, as a starting point to see if they're even within
But
the
like I
range.
said, it's measured differently than it is. It's not just 1,000 feet from here to there. It's measured, and I don't know the exact directions, but it's measured differently for
Right.
sex
It
offenders. So
probably is measured in certain ways there's certain languages that they use to do things.
right.
Same as with the liquor control, it's from the front door of the place to the front door of the
Right.
church,
So
not,
maybe we should get the chief
that's
to
what's
get
not
the-
property lines.
I think he can go measure that. The chief could go measure that to make sure that we're within our legal rights and stuff.
Right.
Okay,
Yep, I agree.
roll call vote.
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Hollaback,
Yes.
Rick Walt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried.
I did
Next
think
item.
it was good of, just as a matter of mention, I did think it was a sign of, I don't want to call it support, but gratitude that the daycare put out for Ray.
Right.
They had a sign out front that said, "Thank you, Ray, for moving his
Business.
or for trying to move his business somewhere else." So I did think that was nice of them to do that or have that gesture out there.
Okay, number 7, first reading of amended blight ordinance, set public hearing, pages 34 and 35. It's on the bottom of 34, it's changing from 72 hours to 24 hours. And same as on 35, it's changing to 24 hours to take your stuff in. Number 7 on page 34. Otherwise, it was about 3 days you could have your garbage out ahead of time.
Can we add to this yet or no? Is it too late?
What?
Is it too late to add to this or no?
Like what?
Well, personally, myself, downtown, these guys that own these buildings that spray paint the windows, or hey, the window's busted, so I'm gonna run duct tape down it, leave it for 5 years, or I'm gonna cover the windows with newspaper. I mean, that's what makes downtown look bad to me. I don't know. That's just my thought.
I think that's a different ordinance. So
it looks horrible.
I think that would be something in a different ordinance for.
It's kind of light when they take windows together, and
that is a different ordinance, I think.
Yeah, I think
But-
we actually
but
have it.
that is something we need to address, Don.
yeah, it looks horrible.
And you're on the DDA now, right?
Yeah.
So that's a perfect spot. But if we need to draft an ordinance for that, then that's a good idea.
It's another area that we need to research, and also about collecting fines and stuff too.
Right.
But this would get this portions
Are we
corrected.
making 2 separate motions for this, Joe or Sarah? What are we doing? Or just one motion for both?
This is first reading, and then we just need to set the date of the public hearing.
A motion to set the public hearing.
I'll make the motion to set the public hearing for both of these
A sport.
at the
Oh,
next.
this is just for this one,
Oh, okay, for that first one, okay.
this ordinance.
Yep.
Which
Don?
day? When should we set it? Next meeting?
Probably next meeting, I would say.
Yes.
That's enough time, ain't it, Sarah? 2 weeks?
You got enough
Yes.
time there, Sarah?
Yep.
Yes. Did Don support that?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, motion for what?
Just set a public hearing on amending this blight ordinance.
For the trash, Tisha. So you got,
Yeah.
you got to put it out 24 hours. You only can have it out 24 hours early, and you got to pick it up 24 hours after it's picked up.
Right.
I guess my question is, what are the consequences of, There's a house on Fremont Street that the garbage cans sit out on the street from week to week to week, and they just put the garbage in the garbage cans with the garbage cans sitting on the street. It hasn't changed in a year, so obviously there are no consequences.
Well, you don't know that because we don't know if they're getting blighted for it.
Okay.
Which would fall back onto Randy.
It should be in Randy's monthly report.
Right.
But the whole point of an ordinance is so that it has more, I guess, strength than a policy, and that it is enforceable by policing measures.
See, 72 hours, basically, you could have it out 3 days before and not take in your cans until 3 days after, plus today. That's almost a full time you can leave them out there.
Right.
Which is what they're doing on Fremont Street.
Yes. 72 hours before is put it out Monday.
Okay.
Okay, roll call vote.
Jones Holubek,
Ish.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
listening. No.
Rick Walt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Hall,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes. Public hearing except for next meeting. Reschedule spring cleanup day.
So that was supposed to be this last Saturday, but Mterra asked that we change the day due to that they have staff go on site and they actually have to see people. So possibly sometime next month would be better.
Have to be because, yeah, June something, right?
Did they give us any dates or anything that they would like to see?
They did not. They just asked that we reschedule.
Could you,
And we got to make sure we reschedule after Hitler lets us loose. Oh, I'm sorry, Gretchen. I'm sorry. I meant to say Gretchen.
all right, Don.
And she said what? She's talking the 28th possibly, so we got to make it June something.
Maybe you could call them, Sarah or Matt, and see what dates they could possibly do it, because everybody else is going to be doing the same thing. So, if we could get a date from them, that would be better. So they knew it was coming and things like that. And they'd feel better
I would
about it.
sort of recommend try and see towards the end of June, not the first part of June, because we don't know what's going to happen.
Or like Bob said, maybe we could call them and maybe they can give us a date.
Yes, but
No,
maybe
but
towards the end of June, not the first part of June.
Yeah. Maybe you can ask them, say, maybe one of the last 2 Saturdays in June. And if that works for them, so they have an idea and they know what's coming. And I'm sure a lot of other cities are doing the same thing, that they're stuck too, and they're going to want to do it. And they may not have enough people to go around.
Okay, Sarah.
Okay.
Okay, number 9, set finance committee meeting. That's for your third quarter report.
Yes, we're gonna do the third quarter financials and discuss rates.
And when do you want to do that, Miss Sarah?
I was thinking we could either do it next Monday or we could do it before the next meeting on the 18th.
How much time do we need?
Either one. I prefer Mondays, sorry.
We'll probably want to talk about an hour just because of the rates part.
And when, I mean, will this help you if we do it on Monday, Sarah? The 11th, is that what you're saying?
I was
Or
thinking
no.
about it, and ideally earlier I was thinking the 11th, but now that by that time I really should just be putting numbers in anyways. So the 11th or the 18th, it doesn't, either one.
Somebody pick a date then.
6:30 on the 18th.
I would say 6:30. Well, is that enough time? 6 or 6:30?
6:30 would be okay.
6:30 on the 18th. That would be my motion, by the way.
I'll support that.
Okay, we got a motion and support. Sarah, roll call vote.
Are we making
Rick
a
Walt?
motion doing roll
Yes.
calls on this?
White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Hall,
Yeah.
Jones Hollaback,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried.
I still have a question. Why did we do a roll call on that or a vote or a motion on that when it's only for the finance committee?
I don't think it was necessary, but
Like to
being as a
hear
motion
everybody's
was
voices.
called, we did it.
Yeah.
Just wondered.
So are we having a finance, was this for the whole committee or just this the finance committee itself?
Just
I
the
was
finance committee.
just the finance committee.
Just finance.
Okay, and are we doing that online or are we gonna meet in person?
I think it's gonna be dependent on what happens.
I think we should assume it'll be online, and then if
Okay.
not, we
Who's
can-
on the finance?
My only concern though, Matt, is that
Myself.
the virtual meetings executive order was extended to May 11th. So unless she extends it again to the end of the month, then we might have to meet in person unless she extends that open meetings executive order.
Hey, Sarah,
Yeah,
you didn't provide me with a cheat sheet here on my table. So who's on the finance committee? I can't remember.
it is Bob, Tisha, and Jill.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, next one. Planning Commission report. What happened at the Planning Commission meeting?
Matt could report on that.
Yeah, the planning commission tabled the Sampson issue again because they did not attend and we weren't able to communicate with them at all. And they set the public hearing for the new premier provisioning location.
And the public hearing is going to be when?
Do you remember, Sarah? I don't remember.
It's going to be May 19th.
May 19th, yep.
Okay, mayor's report. Basically, I gave some donuts. I thanked the school and the school, what they're doing for the students. I volunteered a couple places. I got, put out a couple of requests to get some feeling on labor costs for the dog parks, and we can fine tune that. And then I checked some sidewalks, and Matt told me him and they checked some sidewalks and to get some work done. I thought of another area, Matt, that we might have to look at, maybe should look at too. If the water's down, extend that ramp at Chippewa Landing. If the water's down, we can put some slabs in, because the other year we had to dump a bunch of rocks in because the launch pad, the boat ramp is not long enough now. And then my comment on the bottom, we went through the budget meetings. And now I'm still concerned about our Caro, making Caro a destination, that's always for businesses. But what bothers me is the 30+ vacant buildings in the downtown area alone. What can the council do to help fill these buildings? If we need to give some incentives or get somebody selling something, selling Caro to businesses or something, we have to rack our brains out how we can help make the downtown more active or get businesses in, like I mentioned a long time ago, the city of Detroit, they're a lot bigger. They're giving grants out, matching grants to businesses to help businesses get started. We have to think about that. That's all I'm trying to say right now. Okay, managers' comments.
Yeah, I didn't have any written comments because I've been updating you guys every Friday on pretty much everything that we're doing. But yeah, we're thinking about reopening strategy right now. I think depending on what the governor says and what gets extended or what doesn't, we'll start thinking about bringing folks back to the office. If everything expires when she said it does so far, probably the week after the 15th, maybe Monday, the 18th, we'll start bringing folks back in a modified operation to keep social distancing policies in place. But we're just working on that right now, and certainly we'll be communicating out what my intention is. And the DPW is actually going to be working 40 hours this week. They have a lot to do to prepare for the summer season. They're cleaning things up. They're mulching brush. They're preparing everything that we need to do. We got some brackets for the street lights. We were approached by a school program to put up the pictures of all the seniors in town. So we are working with them on that. And so they're involved with that, and working on getting quotes for sidewalk. We're working on the measurements for that right now, and just getting the budget ready to go. This week and next week, I'll be meeting with department heads to talk about their budgets and kind of give them the feedback that you guys provided us, and talk to them about how they want to proceed, and if just let them know where we're going, I suppose. So
I got one comment, Matt, that part of the railing on the walkway, maybe that should be a priority, because I think that's a safety concern. We have the netting up now, but to get that repaired.
Where the tree fell on it?
Yeah, where the tree fell.
yep, that's on their list of things to do as a priority to get that fixed.
Okay, thank you. Sarah?
I've been working on the budget, started working on the third quarter financials and analyzing those rates for us to discuss at our next finance meeting. I attended the planning commission meeting electronically, and as I said, their special meeting is going to be on Tuesday, May 19th, for the public hearing on the new proposed medical marijuana location. I mailed out those public hearing notices to the properties within 300 feet of that location. I attended the bid opening for the lawn services RFP and the blight mowing RFP, and I attended Tuscola County Clerk's meeting electronically last week.
Thank you. Are there any additional public comments?
Mike Carpenter has a comment.
I was going to actually comment during the planning commission discussion, but anyway, just to add to Sarah's comments, the meeting on the 19th, we will also be presenting the site plans for the police addition parking lot and the farmers market project to the planning commission for their support at that meeting as well. And you guys were talking about your revision to the marijuana ordinance, and I believe you were concerned with the distance from the proposed location, the new location that Ray is proposing to the daycare, and property line to property line along M25, along M81, it's only 600 feet and change. So
That's what I thought.
it is under the 1,000 feet. Now, however, that application's already been received, so any amendment to the ordinance wouldn't affect that application, but you would still have a violation, you know, immediately. So, or a violation of the ordinance, even though it would be quote unquote grandfathered already. So I just thought I'd bring that up to you. And then Matt, the other thing, I don't know if do you want me to update them at all with the Caro Center? If you had any correspondence with them with that?
Yeah, you could if you'd like. I sent the report that you had sent me to Bob and Joe, the team that goes on the calls. But you could do a quick update if you'd like. Yeah, if Mr. Mayor will allow it.
Yes.
So over the last few weeks, we received some in writing this time from the state as to what they're exactly looking for water demand out to the Caro Center. So then that allowed us to go back and revise our report from 2 years ago and take things from speculation to actually, here's a revised report. And what the revised report shows is that the 12-inch water main that we proposed all along is still what is needed out there. Because the state now only wants to pay for what they need in a main. And so we were being questioned and needed to demonstrate why the 12-inch was needed. But based on their revised demands, that 12-inch is indeed justified. So it not only justified, but it's what's required to provide what they're asking. So.
And can we provide that, Mike?
Provide the report or to provide the amount of water they need?
The amount of water they need. Can we send them 70 pounds of pressure and 360 gallons a minute?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So where it gets really interesting is that they're required to operate, apparently they're required to also operate one fire hydrant at 1,100 and some gallons per minute.
Mm-hmm.
So when that fire hydrant opens, their pressure will drop from below the 70 they're asking for to more in the 50 range.
Okay.
So hopefully that will still be okay with them, but their building sprinkler can operate and their full domestic demand can happen above 70 PSI. It's when they crack that fire hydrant that the pressure will drop below 70.
But if they're cracking that fire hydrant, what's that fire hydrant just supplying? Just the fire?
It would be supplying a fire truck.
Okay, so if that hydrant is cracked open, a fire truck is hooked to that hydrant, we can give them the 1,000 pounds of pressure right off the truck.
Yeah, I mean, for fighting, what the state
If there's
wanted,
a fire in that building.
Yeah, what the state wanted is the building is split up into 4 or 5 zones. And if one of the zones caught on fire, they want to maintain that area, fight the fire, but also maintain their domestic flow. In other words, all their toilets flush properly and all their whatever else that's going on in the hospital works properly, even though there's a fire event. Now at your mine house, if I have a fire, I could care less if the toilets flush, but at the state facility, it is a concern of theirs.
Right.
That's where the 70 PSI comes in, even during a fire flow. Because normally, and during the original design, we were only looking at a 20 PSI minimum, and not the 70. So that was one of the clarifications.
But if you're at the structure fire in a building of that nature, that fire hydrant is only going to supply the water for that pump truck to push it into that sprinkler system.
No, I think it'll be just for the truck to pump water. So it'll be a truck will hook up to the hydrant and run it through the pump and through the hoses, I believe.
You're not going to be able to hook to the sprinkler system to supply it more water pressure?
The sprinkler system will be directly connected.
Okay, you're connecting it right. They're connecting it right into the hydrant then, or in the water main?
There'll be a
Water
fire
main,
loop
yes.
around the facility and their sprinklers will be directly connected to that fire loop.
Okay.
So now it's a good point. They may still need and may still be required to have a fire department connection.
I would think they would have to at
Yeah.
some point in time.
And I don't know if that is just a redundancy thing in case there isn't water for some reason. If that, you know, if that's the case, then it would be a truck showing up and pumping water off the truck into the building.
Right.
But for a truck to get water from the system and pump it in the building would be redundant because the building's already getting water from the system, if that made sense.
Yep. I got you.
So anyway, you know, that report is in your guys' hands now. And as soon as you're comfortable with it, Matt, I'm assuming that Jeff's looking at it and whatever else. And then we can, so the next step would be to, you know, get with the state and start working on an agreement. So, and I think the state was going to try to reach out to Matt this week and try to maybe set up an appointment yet this week. That was my last conversation with them. So.
Okay. Sarah, is there any way that we could get a copy of that report? Because reading it off the phone, it's kind of long. Is there some way we could get a copy of that report?
I can drop it off to you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. So we could read it. I mean, it's hard to read on the phone. It's kind of long
And Matt, did I share that draft schedule with you as well?
I
might not have yet. I put together kind of a draft schedule based on the state's schedule of wanting water. And that kind of shows that, you know, we need to get going on this in June with the survey work, which is, I was kind of hoping that, you know, Caro and the state might be a little closer to an agreement before we got started too hard, but we're starting to run out of time for that.
Yeah, I think you did share that with me, but I can't find it in my email.
Okay. You want me to forward it out to you and Bob and Joe?
If you forward it to me, I'll probably send it to all the council members.
Okay. All right. I can do that.
Yep.
So are you thinking about starting then, Mike, on surveying the rest of that? Because didn't we do some of it already?
We did not do any field work yet. We did a little bit of office work, which is still valid. I mean, you know, we that's still good. So okay. What I think the next step would be, and maybe, you know, maybe we can do that at the next council meeting, but would be for us to refresh our proposal for the work and then just get reapproved to do that work again.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Are there any questions for Mike any further? Or going back to it, any additional public comments? Okay. Tisha, do you have any comments? Anything else?
No.
Alvin?
Yeah, Mr. Green. On the downtown development, Detroit used a model that Florida started a long time ago. And their model is if you bring the people, the businesses will follow. I think in the downtown, we need to fill the apartments. We need to fill the apartments above them to bring people into the downtown. There's a lot of empty apartments and stuff up there, and there's a lot of the buildings that the apartments are ran down. I think if there's a way to fix the living in the buildings, above the buildings, the businesses will come because the people will be here and living. And that's where Detroit has been following the model. If you go down, like across from the Caesar Palace where they built right downtown, there's brand new townhouses across the street from that.
Yes.
There's not much parking. If you scroll the downtown area in Detroit where they're doing the development, they're bringing the people in, not the businesses, but the businesses are following. So I think Carroll needs to change its mindset of, let's not worry about trying to bring a ton of businesses in. Let's try and figure out a way to bring people into a downtown living. And then the people will be here to support the businesses and they'll follow. That's the basis that Detroit is taking if you follow around. They got that from Florida. There was a big builder in Florida, south of Florida, way south down into Florida. What they did was they started out building homes and a school. When the people came, the hospitals came, the businesses came. Now they're flourishing. Just a thought.
Yes. Well, I was just going to add some of those businesses or commercial buildings. the living units above them is not living units. They need a lot of work. I'm trying. So even if we help, the ones we did that, there was a program maybe 5-8 years ago where we remodeled through, I think it was through Mishta or something, remodeled some of the apartments and they filled up right away, like you said.
Yes, they did. I think Time Out took advantage of that and renovated and made a couple of nice apartments. And then a couple of business owners have, like Dr. Starling has done that on her own.
Yeah.
Yeah, their Time Out did take advantage of that, I believe.
Yeah, then above the Oasis did too. There's 3 units up there too. They took advantage of it. Okay, Brian, anything else?
Matt's unaware, but after our DPW takes care of the safety concern near Chippewa Landing and then the banners for the new grads, we dredged that pond at Chippewa Landing last fall so that we could get our fountain back up and running. I think that's something I think that people, I'd been asked 2 years ago by some Caro residents to see and try and get that back up. When people drive into Caro, it's kind of like something people look forward to seeing, like a piece of artwork. As long as it doesn't cost us much more, I think we should reactivate that fountain.
Yeah, the fountain had lights at night too. It showed up at night too. Okay, Bob?
Just the dumpsters in town, back to doing the same thing again.
Okay, Don?
Joe, did you ever address Bullet about that language on the building that everybody can see?
I haven't.
Is there any way we can call them and say, look, you got to take care of that? You know what I'm talking about.
The only thing I know is when I talked to them, they said, yes, we filed a police report.
Well, yeah, but they got to cover it. If I painted that at my house, I would have a ticket by now.
Yes.
Everybody who walks up my front door can see that.
Does Matt, maybe we have to show it to Matt, or did you see it already, Matt?
Oh,
I haven't seen that.
That's the back of the parapet wall that you can see from your front door, Don.
Yeah, that says the F word.
Yeah, I called that in from my truck about a month ago when I drove by that.
It's been there since, when was that, Joel, in the fall?
Yeah, I even went and talked to them and told them about it. And
so then maybe we need to ticket them if you've already asked them.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll get their. And then there was one other thing. The First Baptist Church on the corner of Lincoln and Almer Street. They have a lot of brick falling off their building, and they put caution tape around the base of it a year ago. Okay, but I was talking to somebody last week. Well, you see the caution tape, but you don't realize what it's there for. It's because there's brick falling 40 feet in the air. They got to do something more than put caution tape around it.
The church doesn't own that building on the corner. That was some developer from Royal Oak, I believe.
They still haven't. They were having church every Sunday there until this COVID-19.
That's the second building.
Is that the one where the barber shop is in?
No, it's right across the street from the post office.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
The original First Baptist Church.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, all right.
Well, way up at the tower, 40 feet up, the building's deteriorating and the brick's falling down, but they put tape around it. Well, if a kid walks over there and a brick falls, it'll kill him.
Yeah, that's where the
what was that?
Awning?
What about on the other corner? The old Presbyterian church over here.
Yeah, that's horrible. What's up with that one?
Brick all over the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Methodist
falling in around the windows and everything.
Yeah.
I have to wait for the tax sale on that one. We got back on the tax roll. What was it? About 2 years ago, Sarah?
Yeah.
It should be coming up being foreclosed on if the county is going to foreclose on it.
Yeah, we need to do something with that one definitely too.
That one's abandoned, really.
Right.
Don, on that church you're talking about, did they did they secure that awning at all that was falling off of the building by that basement exit?
You know, I didn't even pay attention. I was just more concerned with that brick coming down from 40 feet in the air.
Yeah, one time, I want to say I saw the awning with the tape on it, and I thought the awning was falling down. It's only like 4 foot by 4 foot.
Right. I didn't even pay attention.
That was, that falls under, what is it, dangerous structure ordinance?
It should fall under something, because my fear is a kid happens to be over there, even somebody mowing the grass or anything, and a brick falls on them, it'd kill them.
Matt, could you have Randy check that out?
We have a dangerous structure ordinance, and that church on Burnside hasn't been cited 1 million times yet.
Right. I think Alvin said
Sorry, it's my mother.
The plywood's even off the windows,
Sorry.
isn't it?
Not my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, who has abandoned it, and we haven't cited her how many times?
Well, she probably should have been cited it once a month because the place is falling apart slowly but surely. The roof is now
safety. It's a safety issue too for the citizens. I mean, what if some guy grabbed a little kid and took him in there?
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
You can't have that.
How do you enforce it when
So who owns it? Who owns it right now?
The one on Burnside is my sister-in-law, and she lives in South Carolina.
But she still owns it?
Yes, sir.
Well, we need to ticket her. We'll just send it to you, Ted.
She's never gonna, we wrote her up to pay for the bee removal and the boarding up of the doors and stuff like that from the
And the
city.
mowing and the.
Right, and she hasn't paid any of those.
Well, she let it, now it's gonna go back, so we're never gonna get paid for that.
Right, you never,
Right,
there's no sense of wasting
it's
people's
on
time
the
on
tax
that now.
foreclosure.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, Jill, any comments?
Oh, the one that comes to my mind is kind of a follow-up to Alvin's comment about housing in downtown Caro. And I know a half a dozen or 8 people, older citizens that would love to downsize and stay in Caro. We have no housing. We have no new housing. We have no move-in ready housing. We have no housing. The downtown housing up above the stores would be great to fill those, but we can't fill those with an older population. They don't want the steps. They don't want the no garage. They don't, that's not what they're after. We need housing in Caro.
So when we get the church on Burnside, we need to solicit somebody that wants to build an apartment complex there.
Absolutely.
Instead of a parking lot. Huh?
The apartments that I'm thinking of are across from the sheriff's department maintenance garage. That would be perfect. Single level unit apartments. I think there's 3 or 4.
Where is that?
Next to the county building by the in between, just past the courthouse.
Okay.
Where the sheriff's vehicles park.
Past the jail.
Okay.
Yep, just past the jail on the left-hand side. It's on the corner. I believe George Hall built them in the 70s. And they've changed owners, but something like that, a quadplex, single level, would be accessible if we needed to look at a good example, or the ones on the corner of Burnside and Pearl Street.
Sure.
Right. Right.
Or plus, like the ones above Fred's Men's Shop. I think there's 3 up there, and they filled up right away. But they were brand new, nice apartments.
But yeah, for our aging population.
Yeah, that's not for aging, but they filled up,
Correct. And we do have maybe a handful of vacant lots in Caro that don't meet our current ordinance to build on. And if you really look, there's a good portion of homes in Caro, if they were to unfortunately catch fire, that the people couldn't rebuild on them. So maybe we need to look at some options of suitable structures that can be built for the folks starting out or the people that want to downsize that would fit those vacant lots. Because they currently have sewer and water already ready to hook up to.
Problem is, Brian, we got to change the ordinance, and I brought that up a year ago. I brought it up twice. We've got to change the ordinance where when a house does burn down, that they can rebuild. Right now, you have to have, I think it's, Mike Carpenter might know if he's still with us, but
But the main thing is.
you got to have 7,500 square foot of property to build a house, and all the lots are 100 by 50, which only makes 5,000 square feet. So when a house burns, you can't rebuild. We need to change that.
Yeah, there used to be a house on there too, you know, and a lot, 2 stories and whatever, but yes, we need to address that.
We got to. That's why we got empty lots sitting around.
Yes. And
Where
an
do we
empty
put
lot
that?
is making us $100 taxes. A house would be a couple $1,000 a year taxes.
I'm sorry, Jill, go ahead.
My question just was, where do we need to put that so we can address it and stay working on it?
That would be our zoning ordinance.
Zoning ordinance?
Correct. For example, like up north, there's what they call a lot of record. Okay. And in order to build on that, for zoning purposes, you have to allow a structure to be built and give a percentage of green space undeveloped so that your lawn would have a chance of looking good and suiting the neighbors. But then when you do that, sometimes it makes your house so small. There needs to be some wording in there to make that work.
Okay. I would just love to see us work on it.
I'd love to see people building building new in Caro in town. That would be excellent.
Yes.
And maybe offer people incentives, some type of incentives from the city or whatever to build too.
That's not the problem. The problem is, do you remember the dump that I bought and it took me forever to build a new house? I had to jump through so many hoops because they wouldn't let me tear it down and rebuild because the property wasn't big enough. And oh my gosh, it was a nightmare to build that new house. But if you remember the old house versus the new house, it looks so much better.
Yeah, the trouble.
Your speakers are messed up. Your mic.
Oh, the county's got to be on board with us too, to allow a minimum square footage.
I'm pretty sure that's a city ordinance.
Yeah, I think that's in the zoning ordinance. Okay. It might be, and I think I saw Mike unmute his microphone. It might be something the planning commission can tackle.
Yeah, really, what I was going to say is if that is something council planning commission take a look at, then to the manager or to the liaison, just ask for us to look into that. And if Brian, if you have an example of, you know, an ordinance that allows a house to be built, you know, back the way it was on a smaller lot, you know, my only concern is if we change the ordinance, I wouldn't want to see, you know, new development happen on the smaller lots, but to redevelop, you know, I think the key is redevelopment, not development. Right. So that would be my only concern.
Well, redevelopment would be figured when there's already existing sewer and water there, correct?
Well, or existing lot, or, you know, yeah. And for the most part, anything that's zoned RA2 is in the old downtown area. That's the area we're talking about. So as long as we didn't touch RA1, probably okay. RA2 is, you know, is the downtown, the old, you know, 50 by 100, 50 by 150, or, you know, what the smaller lots. That's where it would be, you know, more applicable. But, you know, again, I'd hate to see somebody take a farm field on the edge of town and start lopping off 5,000 square foot lots. I mean, that would be not a good thing.
What we want.
So
redevelopment, like you said, house burns down, they should be able to rebuild.
Yeah. And
Alvin, you got to bring that up at the planning commission.
The planning commission over the years keep people in their houses. Like, for example, back in the 80s, that property by McDonald's all got rezoned commercial, and then it's still houses. So we ended up doing the overlay zoning, 10 years ago or so, 15 maybe now, so that the houses can still stay there, but to also encourage business to automatically allow the property to convert to business at the homeowner's request versus a rezoning. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds, so to speak. But so yeah, I mean, if that's something that you guys want the planning commission to work on, I think that's, typically, I mean, there are some things we do on our own, but typically if there's an issue, if the council wants us to look at something, just let us know.
There's some lots in the city that shouldn't be rebuilt on if the house burns down. There's some where the county drain runs right through the city. They're behind the house and their backyards go straight down. And there's no front yard. Them houses were to burn and the insurance company was to pay. The best thing that could happen is that be a vacant lot. Because you take a house that has an irregular yard that basically don't have a yard, and it drives the value of other homes down. Because if you have a house that sells for $60,000 and it affects the home value to the house across the street, that's a 2-story, Victorian house that's $160,000. So you got to be careful on some of these lots that not every lot's suitable for building on, even if it's 50 by 100 and it was always that way. There's lots that should never be built back on because of the irregular shape, because of the backyards. A backyard that goes straight down into a county drain, no old person wants to live there. They can't mow that backyard. They can't maintain it. So there's a fine line between that when you start dealing with that. Like Mike said, you don't want a farmer splitting off land either into small lots. That depreciates value of land.
Okay.
To charge a tax on a lot in town when you can't build on it and gain any use out of it. One of the examples would be on Quinn Street, where the home burnt down and can't really be rebuilt on because it's not a large enough lot. But there is some wording. I do have an example. It's dated to 2005, but it could still be used as a model.
Yeah, and same as I know Muskegon did a lot with 50-foot lots too. They did a cost comparison. I never followed up and see how many houses got built there or whatever. But they have, other towns been addressing it. Okay, are there any other questions? Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll support.
Sarah, you're muted.
You're still muted, Sarah. Okay.
Who made that motion?
I did. Sarah.
Alvin? And Don supported?
Bob made it. I supported it.
Bob made it.
Oh, Bob made it. Okay. Okay. I gotta do a quick roll call, even though White?
Yes.
Zavitz?
Yes.
Eschenbacher?
Yeah.
Paul?
Yes.
Jones Holloway?
She's muted.
She said yes. I seen her look smooth.
Yes.
Rick Walt?
Yes.
Mayor Green?
Yes.
Hey, Brian.
We're
Good night,
adjourned.
everyone.
I don't know if it's just my computer, but every time you talk, it just all kinds of static and back noise. And is it just mine that's doing that?
No, it's not
it's
just
doing
yours.
that. No.
But I think it's Brian.
Good night, Sarah. Good night,
Good night,
all.
everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, I'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, it's definitely yours.
Yes.
Okay.